Hello, welcome to Halo 5 Guardians campaign Let's Talk. You've got myself, Apps, and Bud here from the Dimp Digital team. And Bud is going to take us through his experience of Halo 5's campaign, because you've literally just finished this a couple of hours ago, haven't you?
I have, yes. Took
See,
me 7 hours and 20 minutes
well,
to
that was
complete.
that was one of my questions. 7 hours and 20 minutes. That doesn't sound overly long. I'm struggling to pull any thoughts back from the previous campaigns on how long they were, but that seems short. Am I incorrect in thinking that though? Compared
It
to
does seem quite short, yeah. I think it felt much longer than it actually was, you know?
yeah,
I felt like I got my money's worth. I don't feel like I've been stung out of any sort of levels compared to the
no.
previous ones.
You feel like you got your full package. What difficulty level did you
Yeah.
did you aim for in your first playthrough?
I played through on heroic.
All right,
Um,
so not normal. Went for heroic. Sort of stepped it up a little bit.
yeah, wanted a challenge, but didn't want to sort of hate it on the first go.
No.
So, yeah,
Did you
best
get
go heroic.
Did you get a challenge from heroics? I've been hearing rumblings that it seems a little bit easier than past ones because you've got a team behind you that can revive you and stuff. And
Yeah, well, that's part of the reason I think I completed it quickly as well,
yeah,
because you don't die as much and have to do the same part
no,
50 times to get through. So that's quite helpful, and it takes away a bit the tediousness of certain parts of the game, being able to sort of keep your progress when people revive you.
yeah.
Um,
How are your team, your AI team? Because you played this on your own, you didn't have any co-op involvement in this. How do they fare? Are they good? Are they overpowered? Are they a bit shit?
well, they are a bit shit. I mean, they're just there to sort of take bullets for you, and
Right.
really they are cannon fodder, and
Yeah.
you see it when you go down and one by one they run to the same place and just get just swiped out of it straight
Yeah.
away, like each one just dropping in the same place.
Yeah.
They're not very smart. You know, you'd imagine they'd have someone sort of backing up with covering fire and then the other person run in or something, but
Yeah. They all just
there's
go.
none of that.
None of that going on. That's
Like
unfortunate.
lemmings.
Yeah, they just don't care,
Yeah,
do they? Just jumping off the
yeah.
cliff. Without spoiling the story itself, how did you find this aspect of Halo 5 Guardians? 'Cause I've seen criticisms of it, but I haven't seen the direct criticisms of it. Was you engaged in this story? Because you wasn't a big fan of Halo 4.
No, I think that was part of the reason I wasn't as engaged, because I didn't really
Yeah.
follow the Halo 4 story too tightly. So,
No.
without giving anything away, it's obviously following on from that. So,
Yeah.
um, but I did find it, you felt the importance of what you were doing
Right.
as a campaign. It wasn't just, you know, there was something to it. So you knew, even if you didn't understand exactly what was going on, you kind of know
Mm.
what you're fighting for and against.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense itself. I've also seen rumblings that perhaps the marketing for this campaign and for the game in terms of Locke versus the Master Chief and that kind of bit where there's two different trailers, one killing the other, is a little bit misleading. Again, treading around spoilers here. Did you get the feeling that you were kind of misled in what you was expected in terms of the story side of things, or did it play out as you kind of expected? Did you get those moments that you were kind of expecting from what you'd seen?
Yeah, I did see that, and yeah, I'd say it slightly was a bit misleading, but obviously they're just trying to get you pumped up for that
Yeah.
kind of drama. But I don't think I don't think it failed to deliver in any way, you know.
No.
So I didn't feel let down by that.
No, he's happy with what was going on. Let's move on to the actual kind of some of the missions you'll be taking on. What are the objectives on this game quite varied, or are you kind of doing the same thing, just getting to? Like I remember in Halo 4, it was pretty much get to a switch and activate it, and then carry on. Have you got a bit more, variety going on here in what you're actually carrying out and what tasks you're doing?
Yeah, well, there was a few different planets and environments you got to go through, so
Okay.
it seemed a bit more, fresh every time you went on a different level. There was something different, and your surroundings were different, so it kept you engaged in that way. There was a lot of switches that you had to press as standard, but
Yeah.
you kind of you have to get to some kind of objective, and that was it really.
That's how it worked.
Mm.
Gameplay wise, obviously, this is probably the biggest change that's taken place on that front. Did it feel a bit more slicker going through the campaign, using these new mechanics such as being able to climb on the walls? Obviously, you've got dashes and you've got all sorts of other things that you can do now that you are a Spartan. Did that lend itself to being a better campaign than what we've experienced previously?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say it really, really improved the combat and your tactics and stuff.
Level design,
I
is that kind of influenced by being able to get up on top of things, and is there a bit more verticality going on?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there was a lot, getting the higher ground and sort of obstacles to get on top and up and over. So the clamber was very useful, and I found I was using the dash pretty much, 75% of the time when I was
Yeah.
actually engaged in combat, just because it gets you out of the sticky situations, and
Yeah,
it's good when you're fighting like hunters and
sure.
things like that. So you get in behind them, and the bigger people,
Yeah.
you can sort of evade their swings. So
Right.
it's handy.
Use the ground and pound excessively.
I barely used it actually. I nearly forgot it existed until about halfway through, and I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, no, that's an all right feature, but I still can't really get to grips with it, to be honest. I can't. Well, I don't get too much satisfaction out of it. The charge function, where you're
Yeah.
sprinting and can dash into them, that's really useful because you use it to get through a lot of walls and like
Oh, right.
sort of things. Not like obviously any wall, just the set walls you
Yeah.
can break through. But it's useful when you've got someone who's on their last legs and you want to smash them off the edge or something. Like
Yeah.
it works very well.
Excellent. That sounds good in itself. One last question regarding the kind of story side of things. I jump back and forth there. Now, there's been a lot of complaints from Halo fans that you don't spend enough time playing as the Chief himself. You're playing as Spartan Locke a lot during this campaign, excessively in some people's eyes. Was that
Yeah,
an issue for you?
not at all. Do you really think? I don't think that can be an issue to anyone.
No, not
Really,
me
like, I mean,
personally, because
you're
this.
not even looking at who you're playing as, really. You
No,
see his gun and
no.
that's it. So
I think there's a divide in the fan base where those that didn't like Halo 2 because you spent time playing as the Arbiter were livid at doing that. They was like, oh, you should be playing as Master Chief all the time, and that kind of got up people's noses. And those same people will probably have an issue here where you're playing, excessively as Locke. But my argument is, I mean, the Master Chief himself. This might be a bit controversial, but as a character, he's not really that interesting, is he?
no,
He's
not
just
got a lot to say for himself, has he?
he's a killing machine at the end of the day. And
Yeah,
so being behind that character doesn't really drag you into the immersion anymore, saying, "Oh, I am the Master Chief," because that Master Chief could be pretty much any Spartan, just out on his duty, just murdering people, taking
yeah,
over
exactly.
planets and stuff. So, I mean, it's there. That seems like that's how they've gone for it. And those that like playing as the Master Chief are undoubtedly going to be disappointed. But those like me and you who aren't overly bothered, you just want to enjoy what they've got to offer, aren't going to be affected by that. Overall, then, were you disappointed? Happy with what you got? Did it meet your expectations?
It did, yeah. I was very impressed. I think mainly the new mechanics and obviously the graphics
Yeah,
were very nice, and I think they made a real effort to diversify the sort of environments you're playing in. So it seems interesting. Like you get to play on. I don't want to give away too much, as you
yeah,
know, but different places you haven't been before,
yeah, yeah.
and it's just, yeah, they must have had a lot of fun designing it, and it's a lot
Sure.
of fun to play in. I thought so. Very positive.
Excellent. I mean, we're now getting to the stage where there's a lot of multiplayer games coming out that don't have a campaign at all. So you have to kind of, it's pathetic, but you have to take your hat off to even bother to do it, which is, it's bizarre what
Yeah,
is going on. So I mean, I've got
but
no.
it's their bread and butter, really, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
that's what it's always been, and if without that, you may as well just be playing any game. Like
yeah,
it's a Halo game. It's important to have the campaign in there
yeah.
as the selling point. So yeah,
It's
I'm
there if
glad
you
they
want
did
it.
it, and I'm glad they put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah. One last question, then we'll wrap things up. Do you think this is going to be more enjoyable as a co-op experience for people out there that are looking down that route?
Definitely, yeah. I think it's really the team sort of dynamic of it really would cater for co-op. Not that I've played it,
No,
but obviously you can't do split screen, which is
no.
a damning negative for the game. I don't know who made that decision. It's ridiculous,
Again,
isn't
it's just one of those things where it's a new feature, well, not a feature, it's a new direction for games where local co-op is not supported as much as it should be.
But why? Like, why take it away? It doesn't. Just add stuff. Don't take stuff away. It's not going to
Yeah,
make it better. Unbelievable.
cutting
I'd love
corners.
to have been in that meeting where people were actually discussing that and the benefits.
This means less time's got to be spent on something else. I guess it's not. I'm not saying it's right, but it's a lot of games these days don't have it. And very rarely do you find a split screen game, which is a disappointment. But I guess that's really the only negative that you can pull out of this, is that there is no local split screen multiplayer there. Although you being over in Australia, Bud, I mean, you're only going to be playing with us online anyway.
Exactly. I've got no friends here, so I need. Oh, yeah. That's the point. I don't need it.
Complaining about something that doesn't affect you, unbelievable. Let's wrap things up here. Thanks for joining me, Bud. It's a pleasure as always. The rest of you guys out there, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date with all things Dimp Digital. Nothing more for us to say here, apart from thanks for your time and ta-da.